Hi everyone, comic reviewer here, this time reviewing on issue 1 of Brightest Day The Flash. Now as you know, this is meant to feature the return of Barry Allen once again as the Flash after his apparent demise in Crisis on Infinite Earths and his return in Final Crisis. And keep in mind this is meant to feature the return of Barry Allen now in a much different environment. And there's a reason why they brought him back, was to start the whole Flashpoint storyline, which needed to happen because after Final Crisis and that, it made sense to kind of reboot things. So let's get on with the story. It starts off in Central City. We see how Iris is getting her daily coffee, and we see how, the second trickster tries to get away. And we see how Barry Allen tries to chase after him and says, "Pull over!" And we see how, one of Trickster's henchmen try to kind of gun him down. And we see Barry saying, "One more time, Trickster, pull over!" And of course, just as they try to get away, speed style, we see how Barry Allen uses his super speed, undoes the car, gets Trickster and his henchmen out, and manages to get away all the equipment, and saves a kid from being hit by a sort of steering wheel, and introduces himself as the Flash, and mainly leaves. We see how, Barry Allen once again goes back into the police department, where Captain Frey says, "You're late, Allen. Traffic was heavier than I remember." And we do kind of see how, they point out that they've got a lot more stuff that they need to now do. A lot more stuff with the rogues, things that's been going on. And even point out about the rogues being like cockroaches and the weapons and that they possess. And we do kind of see how, Barry Allen points out about wanting to do more of the unresolved murder cases. But we kind of see how Dr. Frey points out that they need to kind of move forward about this. And of course, if you remember in the sort of new origin for Barry, that Barry's mum was murdered by possibly his father. I know in the older continuities that never happened, and I get it, this is meant to give Barry a new, different, and realistic origin. So we kind of see how, Captain Frey opens the sort of doors and welcomes Barry to some of the new members and tells him to kind of respect Barry and everything else. And we see how, just then some gateway opens, and we see how everyone looks shocked and sees someone who might be Mirror Master. And we kind of see how, Barry's kind of getting adjusted to his new role in the sort of forensic team, and we see him hearing a old voice. Turns out to be his old friend Forrest, and we see how Barry asks where's Patty, but points out that she transferred out of here, and him basically still staying to get his pension. And we see how David Seth kind of wants Barry out into the park due to someone spotting something that happened to a potential suspect. And we do kind of see how, David Spey is meant to be a bit more harder on Barry and expects him to be at his full potential. And so, after kind of doing some forensics, we kind of see how, this might not actually be Mirror Master. And after checking out the second Mirror Master's mugshots and that, we see how, Barry figures out that this isn't Sam Scudder, as he died years ago during the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths. And there's also the second one, Ian McCulloch, who Barry refers to as the Scottish Hitman for Hire. So obviously a totally different one. And we see how Iris wants some info, but her and Barry made promises to keep their sort of day-to-day lives out of their business. But we also kind of see how something happens. And of course, as soon as Barry Allen gets there, we see how a gateway opens up. And Barry Allen meets Commander Cold and the sort of rogues from the 25th century who are meant to be like police officers. And Barry's saying, I didn't kill anyone. Not yet, but you will. So of course we see that something's happened. And of course, yeah, this is going to lead up to the whole potential Flashpoint storyline, which was eventually going to happen, as DC always know when to reboot things. So my thoughts on issue 1 isn't too bad. Again, this is Barry Allen coming out from the woodwork and seeing that a lot of things had changed around him, and him now accepting that, yeah, this is going to be a totally different ballgame than the one from his past. So I think this issue definitely deserves a thumbs up. Still good, and still enjoyable. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.